Yo, I know what you're here for. Let's get to that sports talk, baby. And you know what it is. You got your boy Dino here with my partner Vance right here. You know we're about to get to this sports talk and we're about to get you caught up on some live reaction, you dig? Now we're gonna first start off with Nick Saban retiring. It's a shock. A lot of coaches retiring here. And the first off, we're gonna read off some stats for you guy, one of the legends for you guy. We got 7 national championships, 6 with Alabama. He had 49 players drafted in the first round out of Alabama, 19 bowl wins, 5-time SEC Coach of the Year. The guy wins games. The guy is the legend of the game. And at 72 years old, it was too much for him. What do you think, Vance? It's too much for the guy.
I read another insane stat that I want to tell you. His NFL players that have gone to the NFL, like guys he's coached, have made $2.3 billion in NFL contract money.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
That's ridiculous.
I think the thing with Nick Saban is 17-year career. Think about this. 17-year career, 6 rings at Bama. He was at Bama for about, 17-year career at Bama, 6 rings. So that means a little under every 3 years he was winning 1 ring. Think about that.
Yeah, he was.
That's insane.
It's crazy to think about it because it's hard to be a head coach, bro. It has to be hard to hit with a head coach because you got to study the game. You have to study more than players. You got to study more than anything of the next opponent after the next opponent after the next opponent. And it's a grinding off season. And you've seen in his interview, I watched his interview, he talked about how it's a grind of a season. This season was one of his seasons that grinded him out at 72 years old. And at 70 years old, you got to think about doing something because you about to reach about 80 years old. You don't need to be coaching and going at 80 years old. It's time to hang it up. So
I think I knew something was up.
Yes, because it's surprising because yeah.
I think I knew something was up when I had heard before this season he bought a house in Florida.
Yeah, he's ready for that retirement plan. Like he said, year after year, he just wasn't sure on if he was going to keep coaching. Was he going to do something else? He said his role, he kind of had a backup role. He had more role with the defense more than anything. Couple plays here and there. They got stopped at the goal line against who they play? Michigan, right? Yeah, Michigan. They get stopped at the goal line. Michigan lose that game, and that's not a Saban. That's not Saban. Saban's winning that game. He's scoring that touchdown right there, and in that game, he's going to win that game. He's going to get you to the national championship. And he just felt like this year was a total of a grind for that team, and he's getting up in age. Had an extent with in the NFL in 2005 and 6 with the Dolphins. Overall record in the NFL 15-17. The guy, he wasn't that great in the NFL. He had a chance to come back, but when all money ain't good money, like I said, Vince. If you win in 7 national titles, you got 19 bowl wins. You're the best recruiter of all time. Why am I leaving the college football? It's no reason for me to leave college football.
Now let me ask you a question here. Fair question here to play devil's advocate for a minute for Nick Saban. If you're Saban and you beat Michigan and you go on and beat Washington, do you think he retires? I don't.
It would be a good ride into the sunset if he had said, "Yeah, I'm going to still retire," winning that national championship. But if he wins it, I don't see how you retire. I think he wants more. You would do another season because you just won a championship. After you win a championship, I feel like usually as a player, you would think you will retire at the game at the highest peak or as a coach at the highest peak in the Super Bowl or the national championship or any type of championship game. But no, it's never the case. It's either like Tom Brady in his last year. He wasn't great at all. That team made the playoffs barely, lost to the Cowboys, and then he goes and retires. Pete Carroll, about to get into him. He hasn't been that great. Had a little decent of a season here. Could have made the playoffs, but ultimately didn't make it. But he steps down. So you get to a point to where you are the coach of the team, and you get to the point where it's too much. You're not making the playoffs. You're not doing things that you normally do in Alabama, and that front office and that school. They looking for national championships every year. If you got the best recruitment, the best linemen, the best wide receivers, you got 49 first rounders drafted, not including later draft rounds on how many players. I don't know the number of how many players he has drafted, but it has to be that number. So I think as a coach, I think you keep coaching after the national championship. That's me.
I think another thing with Saban is I read something somewhere that NIL was a big thing for him. Like, he didn't like how NIL went down with players being able to make money before going to the NFL. That for him wasn't a great. He didn't like that part of it. He's like, they're college athletes. He gets they're getting paid, but I think part of it for him was when he came into college, NIL wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and this is another thing. With that NIL deals and stuff going on, stuff like that, you kind of lose motivation as a player making this type of money, because you kind of spoil players coming into college, and you're already about to make big money going into the draft anyway. And you kind of, as a coach, want to coach these guys hard, but when they feel like they got money in their pocket and they think they just walking, they just think they the Cinderella of the team. It's kind of hard to coach a kind of a player like that. That's still, because usually when you coming out of college, you still hungry. You at your hungriest. You're not making money like you need to. You nearly broke. But I get why they've changed it. I think it's the right thing. I feel like these players, they deserve some type of money if your likeness is up, and you see this packed crowd every time you come out here. There's no way that you don't have enough money to hand me some. You have bigger crowds sometimes than NFL teams and NFL fans. These college football games are exciting. They're packed, and you got jerseys for players. You got all this type of stuff, and all this money coming in. I feel like players, you need some. But to the point where you're making millions of dollars off it is another thing. And as Nick Saban, like said, Nick Saban coming up with Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, and guys like that. These guys were hungry coming into the league, and you can coach guys hard. And right now, as NIL deals and stuff like that come in, it's kind of a hard thing to kind of stick with, if you get what I'm saying.
I think another thing with that is, I know he didn't coach there when this team was there, but he was an LSU coach and won him a title, 03, I think.
Yeah, won a title.
But think about this. Imagine if NIL was a thing with that 2019 LSU team. Holy crap. The amount of money, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow, Thaddeus Moss, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I know those guys right now. They're not mad right now because they're making good money, but back then, if, like said, guys like Evan Ingram, who made some money but didn't make that much money, will kind of get me mad. Some of these players coming out of Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, you know, big guys like that, and then it gets switched over, man. They could have made so much money. Like I said, Johnny Manziel, he had the situation where he started making some money, got in trouble for that. But just imagine Baker Mayfield, guys like that, they would make money out of this world. But that can devastate a player. That can put a player into a standpoint to where they would be worse than what they are, because Baker Mayfield, he was that type of guy. He was a showboater. Johnny Manziel, showboater. You know what I'm saying? Drinking and partying.
I could not agree with you more, because I think, like, we've all heard these stories, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds on this, but, like, we've heard the stories of rock stars make so much money so fast, they go down a path that they shouldn't go down with bad like drugs and alcohol. Like, it's a lot of money at one time, like you said, can sometimes be devastating.
That's what I'm saying. It can. Like, what you get more money, it's just going to make you more than what you are. With more money is what you are. And if you're a showboater and you got money, you're going to be even more of a, you know what I'm saying, a butthole, a person
you're gonna drive
kinda,
like you're gonna like look at my new Porsche or my Ferrari. It's
yeah.
like, okay.
Exactly. You're going to be a person that nobody even wants to even talk to or be like when you got money like that, especially in college football. And these guys are 20-something years old. You haven't seen money like this ever in your life. And sometimes you get money that you don't know what to do with, and you get to doing stupid stuff with it, opening, doing stupid stuff against the law and all that type of stuff. And that can mess up your career. And just imagine NIL deals if they done them for a long time. Just imagine how many careers that really could be in the wash right now. Guys, some guys we wouldn't see in the league right now.
I agree.
If these guys did have money. So that's another reason why sometimes it's a good thing to hold back. Like I said, there's pros and cons to NIL deals. You really, it's a side to these guys need to make money because there's a lot of people in the crowd, and these guys don't need to make money because why would I give money to this person who's so young and they can be more than what they are and then just get in trouble and stuff
and
like that.
they don't know what to do with money. Like they're probably not good with money. That's not everybody, but
exactly.
Think about it. Residuals on jersey sales.
Yeah.
I think another thing we can touch on is I don't know if those out there listening to this know, I think I just told him, Alabama's new head football coach.
Yeah.
So
Daboer,
say what you were saying earlier about Washington. Yeah.
Exactly. And Washington is in a state of mind right now of shockness right now. You losing your guy, Pete Carroll. I mean, he's been there for a long time. You losing your guy in Daboer in Washington, who just went to the national championship. And guys, like, the thing is, they had a lot of seniors on that team. Wide receiver's name, he has kind of a weird last name.
Romeo Odunze.
Yeah, Dunze. Guy's a dog. He just declared for the draft. Penix will be drafted, and you're losing a lot of guys on Washington. So the head coach and any head coach in college football who is turning down the Alabama job. Let's be real.
So the names I was hearing, like the names I was hearing was Dabo Swinney of Clemson, Kalen DeBoer, and Dan Lanning, because they all like Dan Lanning was an assistant for him under Nick Saban. Like a lot of the Nick Saban assistants were getting it, but like Kalen DeBoer makes the most sense. Yes, he lost a national title, but his stock has never been higher.
Yeah. And like I said, I've seen a video with Stephen A. Smith naming Deion Sanders, even though, it's never, ever going to happen. But just imagine a persona like that and a recruiter like that. That Deion Sanders is a recruiter like Saban who attracts players who they just signed the number one left tackle and all of
Jordan Seaton,
yeah. So he can recruit well. Like I said, Sweeney's a great player, coach like that. Daboer's a great coach. You get your team in Washington in the national championship against Michigan within striking distance until the fourth quarter where it got big and the interception happened and all this stuff. So that's a good coach for Alabama. I don't know if players still want to go to Alabama. I don't think they get the recruitment they've had over the past 17 seasons with Saban and him recruiting all these guys and Julio Jones. I just don't know. I think you get players like that, but I think the reason why players signed to Alabama was because of Saban. He was a great coach. I just don't. Alabama's a good spot to go to. Still the number one team. They and said Nick Saban retires because the grind. The Alabama is the team that you write on that schedule if you're another team that say, yo, I'm going to work hard and try to beat this team. Like the Lakers, like the Cowboys. That's just a team you circle, and that's so much of a grind for that team to try to go against these teams like Auburn and stuff like that who want to beat you so bad. But when they go against another team, it's not the same. They're not working that hard against you. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the same.
Not the same. So
let me ask you,
Saban,
do you think Bama falls off? I think they have I think they have like a 4 or 5 year downturn and then they get back on track.
I think Bama falls off. I'm not wishing no bad on Daboer, new head coach. I'm not wishing anything bad, but usually, like the Patriots, about to get into it in a second, you have a dynasty. The Golden State Warriors are struggling. You got a dynasty. Usually, after the dynasty, after you didn't had your times and your championships and stuff like that, you start to fall off. And these next couple seasons, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Alabama struggling in a serious way and say Daboer, he gets released or sent somewhere else and they go through 2 to 3 head coaches and then they find their way back. But like I said, you're going to have to recruit better Alabama's expected for you to recruit the same as Saban. We trying to
I don't think they're expecting that. I don't, for one reason I don't. He's a newer coach.
Exactly.
Instead of averaging 12 wins, they're going to average 10 wins. I don't think they're expecting Saban. I think they're expecting competitive. Now, competitive might be for the first couple of years 10-2, 9-3. Yeah. I don't think they're expecting national title. Like, yes, it's Alabama.
Yeah.
But you're not having a situation where where my school was very fortunate. We went from Urban Meyer to Ryan Day with players Urban Meyer recruited. A lot of these guys Urban Meyer recruited are going to the NFL, or that Nick Saban recruited are going to the NFL. Your Jalen Milrose, your Jermaine Burton's, like all these boys. Like, do I think Kalen Daboer is going to be there long term? I do, but I don't think a national title in the next 3 years, like Nick Saban.
Yeah, next 3 years, I don't think they win the national title.
I think we'll get there eventually.
I think I think they missed the Final Four a couple of times. I think they don't get selected. They hit a bowl game a couple of times.
Remember, there's no more Final Four. It's Final 12 now.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. It changes, right? It changes next year.
This coming year, it's Final 12. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to stand up. But next coach we're going to get into, we got the guy. We got Bill Belichick. He is a coach that we are looking to. We look up to Bill Belichick in a type of way. Things started to fall apart once Tom Brady left. He's done great things. So he's second to Shula. He's second to Shula in wins all time. He's been to 9 appearances in the Super Bowl, 13 AFC Championship appearances. 9 is the most all time from any head coach. You got players like Edelman, grinded them up. You know what I'm saying? Tom Brady's been a guy for you who thought he was going to be what he was going to be when he got picked at 199. Had a lot of success, Bill Belichick as the head coach throughout the years. Coached a little bit with the Browns, with Saban. Remember they were together for a little point in time, and they probably learned from each other. You know what I'm saying? They probably have conversations off the field that we don't even know about, and probably studying each other's minds, because to say that both head coaches and Bill Belichick and Saban retire at the same, or not at the same time, but Bill Belichick's leaving to go somewhere else. We talk about where he's going to go, but Saban's done. It seems like Bill Belichick should be. What does Bill Belichick have to accomplish? I don't know. He's trying to figure out to get a Super Bowl without Tom Brady, but I feel like you're 71. You're one of the oldest. You're one of the oldest head coaches in the league. I think the oldest head coach in the league. With then Saban, 72. It's time for coaches like that to retire. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry to break it to you. It's just that time. It's just that time.
So you don't think he should even go to a different team? You think he should just be done?
I think he should be done. I mean, am I wrong?
Your
think
assessment?
A lot of people probably out there would agree with me.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that as well, because there's one thing that people hold against him. Well, he can't win without Brady. like this man has nothing to prove to anybody. 6 Super Bowls, 1 coach. The next one has 4.
Exactly.
He has nothing to prove to
my
anybody.
thing is, he has nothing to prove to anybody. Even the naysayers out there that say, "Oh, you're not winning with Tom Brady." A couple players come out, they talk about, "Oh, we played for Tom Brady. Bill Belichick was just our boss, and that was it." And it was not good with Bill Belichick and stuff like that. They kind of say bad things about him, but at the same time, this is your head coach. This is a guy who, whether you like it or not, even though most of his wins, most of his championships came with Tom Brady, it's on his resume. It's going to be on his resume until another coach comes up and has more wins than him, goes to more Super Bowls than him. We've seen the 2007 season, and when they go undefeated, but they ultimately lose to the Giants. Don't know how that happens, but he goes undefeated in the season, over 330 wins. I think he's at 333. The guy he's an all-time great. And right now, what else do you have to prove? I just think he's trying to go for the all-time winning record with the Don Shula has, and I think it's at 347. He Bill's at like 333. So
I think George Halas has that breaking 324.
Yeah. So he's almost breaking that record. And what else does he have to prove, Vance? What else does he have to prove?
I don't know, because 6 titles is something in and of itself.
Exactly.
What does he need to prove? Everyone that tells me to win without Brady, everyone that says to me win without Brady, it's like there's one Tom Brady for a reason. We said this last weekend. There's one Tom Brady. He had him.
Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes it happens like that.
And imagine
sometimes it happens like that.
Another thing, if Drew Bledsoe doesn't get if Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, we don't even know who Tom Brady is, and that's no slight at Tom Brady. We just don't.
Exactly. And then record, he not a good record without Tom Brady.
No.
We got let's
13 games
check.
under 500 without him.
Let's check it here. 47 and 57. Yeah, 47 and 57 without Tom Brady. Robert Kraft, he talks about that Bill Belichick comes up to Robert Kraft. He tells him Tom Brady can't play. Then he goes and wins the Super Bowl with the Bucks. He goes and wins the Super Bowl with the Bucks. And that's what's putting that's what's putting Bill Belichick in a standpoint to where I have to coach somewhere else. And I think I need to restart, and maybe I can win a Super Bowl without the Patriots, and maybe I can win one without Tom Brady. And then that's it. Set off into the sunset. But other than that, go with your boy Nick Saban. Retire.
I think another thing, if I was him, there's 2 places I'd look at, same as Harbaugh. Chargers and Raiders. Maybe your team?
Chargers. My team. The thing is, I've read that my team has no interest in Bill Belichick, which I'm not mad at. I just don't want a coach it's like I said, in the era we're in the era now. This is the first playoffs without Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. You coached Bledsoe. The last time Bill Belichick was not in the last time Bill Belichick wasn't the coach of the Patriots. The Spurs won their first championship. Wow. You know how long ago that was? That's so long. I feel like your offensive scheme or what you got going on, he's built up great defenses. I'm not gonna put him down like that, but I think the coaching, the game of football has evolved in different ways to which Bill Belichick and guys like Saban, it's time to move on. I'm sorry, it's time to move on.
I feel like Saban and Belichick now, in this day and age, if they were younger, would be great defensive coordinators.
Exactly. And like Saban said, he was coaching the defense this year. Bill, he should be like a defensive coordinator. I feel like they should have front office positions, honestly. Like we're about to talk about him, Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll, he goes into an offensive He goes into the office. I don't know what he's going to do for the Seattle Seahawks. I think Pete Carroll still a good head coach. I think he should try to find another spot to go to and try to lead a team into maybe he can get to a Super Bowl like he did in 2014.
Why do you feel that about
2015?
So let me ask you, why do you feel that way about him, but you think Belichick should be retired? Because they're similar in age.
I just think Bill, the style of coaching that Bill runs, like Saban, it's a hard style of coaching. And it's like you got kids with NIL deals. You got kids these days, I'm sorry, in the refereeing and everything of the game has gotten softer. I'm gonna just say it out there. I'm gonna put it out there. It's gotten softer. And the way Bill Belichick has coached, and plus, let's look at the location of New England Patriots. Does anybody want to go play in the cold like that? So you're already a hard head coach. It's very cold out there, and you don't have the quarterback who's led you to 9 Super Bowl appearances. So
I'm going to be honest. If you're a pro athlete, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think if you're a pro athlete, I think destination matters to a certain extent, but it's not everything. Think about the two winningest. Think about, I'm saying the two teams that have 6 Super Bowls, Pittsburgh and New England, Foxborough, Massachusetts. Both snow a lot. Seattle snows.
Yeah.
Denver snows a lot. Like there's teams that have Super Bowls it snows a lot. I don't think just because it's cold, people don't want to play. They're like, if this is Brady in his prime, people were lining up to play with Brady. And it was negative
people Facts. People line up to play with Brady. I think it's not necessarily, I would say, like I said, the rookies, when they come in, you don't really you have to go where you're going to go. If you're a player that's not high caliber, you're not making good contracts, you don't have all these teams calling out for you, and you got attitude problems, coaching problems, and you can't really have that spot to pick. But it's that team out there and in Denver that's really cold, Pittsburgh really cold, Cleveland it gets cold, and they say, hey, we need you. This is your only time and opportunity to pick this team and go to it. So in that case, yeah. But if I'm Devontae Adams, I can go to any 32 teams I want to. I want to go where it's sunny. I can go where it's sunny. If I want to go where it's cold, I can go where it's cold. If it's raining out here, let me go there. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a question.
I've heard about location.
Pete Carroll question for you. I've heard 2 different names, and they're in your division, so I want your input. I'm reading right here. Pete Carroll is being approached, and Bill Belichick has been approached by both. Both of them have been approached by the Eagles. What are your thoughts on that? Sirianni's defense this year is not good.
To be the head coach? To be the head coach of the Eagles?
What do you think about that? If that does happen?
I would think that wouldn't be a smart move. I think Sirianni has done a great job with this team, and Jalen Hurts has built up to be a great quarterback in this league. These guys, the Eagles are still 11 wins into the playoffs, even though their season on the back half has been pretty much of a failure. I just think if you get the defense mojo going, you get that going. I just think that team leaves off where it came from in the Super Bowl last year against Patrick Mahomes. One play, just one interception away from winning the Super Bowl. Bolton went off in that game. So I think Sirianni's still a great head coach. I don't think you move on from a coach like Sirianni for Bill Belichick, who knows, he might be done after another season or done after 2 seasons. Sirianni's still a great young head coach in this league. You know what I'm saying? A coach that we've just set our eyes on these past couple years. So I just don't think you move on from something like that. But the Chargers, you better be calling. Atlanta, you better be calling. The Commanders, if you have the chance,
I agree.
You better be calling.
If you're the Commanders, you would prefer? I'm going to guess you'd probably prefer Pete Carroll to Bill Belichick if it's you.
I know that sounds crazy, but I think I will go for Pete Carroll. I just think he connects with the players in a different way than Bill Belichick has with his players. I don't have that experience to say that. I've been coached from Bill Belichick, but just what I've been hearing as a person that scrolls on social media for sports, who's reading up on sports, I'm just seeing a lot of Bill Belichick. He's just Tom Brady was the guy. He was the leader. He was that player I wanted to play with. But Bill over here, he just coached the team. I'm hearing a lot of stuff like that. I'm hearing a lot of stuff in the air like that. So I'm not really set on my team taking in a Bill Belichick who hires Matt Patricia, who's usually a defensive coordinator, and you put him as offensive coordinator. You're doing things like that. Your GM, you as a GM and Bill Belichick hasn't been that great. It hasn't been great at all. So I don't want you to come into my team trying to think you're the GM and the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, which you haven't been great at these last couple of years without Tom Brady.
I think Bill would be better for you guys if he didn't have a role as a GM, just coach only.
Exactly.
Because I feel like
I said,
in New England, he whiffed too many times on big draft picks. A friend of mine, you know him, at my school, he's from Boston. He would always say that his one problem with that was Bill being a GM. The draft, they drafted N'Keal Harry, right? Guess who they whiffed on? A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel. Because he thought N'Keal was just a better prospect. They could have had Deebo or A.J. Brown.
And that was a total flop. And that's the reason why the team is as it is now. Juju Smith-Schuster is the best receiver on that team, and that's god awful. I'm sorry to say it. You can't have players you can't have players like Juju Smith-Schuster as your best wide receiver, and you want Mac Jones to be a game manager to throw it to Juju Smith-Schuster. I just think you're putting a lot on Mac Jones and Zappy to go out there and ball when you don't have pieces around him to ball. Am I correct or am I wrong?
You know I think you're correct for one reason. If you're New England, and we can come at this from a neutral perspective, do you draft a quarterback or do you draft Marvin Harrison?
I think you draft a quarterback. You have to take a quarterback. Your quarterback situation has been bad these last couple of years. Mac Jones didn't have his chance for 2 to 3 years, even though I still don't think he's really had the best opportunity, the best people out there on the outside to help him out. But if you want to send your team in a great direction, try to find that franchise quarterback, because the Texans are doing that right now with C.J. Stroud. You got to find that franchise QB and find a game changer. Stop trying to find the next Tom Brady. Tom Brady, like you said, I'm gonna take it from your words. Tom Brady is the only Tom Brady in the world and will ever be the only Tom Brady. You can't replicate that. So just try to go in the draft and try to draft Mac Jones and stuff like that and try to replicate a Tom Brady. That's just not what the game of football is elevating to be. You got guys like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, people who can sometimes take off or throw the ball when they need to.
Football is moving more and more towards a Mahomes and Josh Allen league. Big arms and can run you over.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is the standard in the league. He's the standard. So you see a lot of draft picks out there. Caleb Williams, you see him coming out of the draft, and they're looking at him like he's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, or he's going to ball out like Patrick Mahomes. Drake May, he can take off when he can take off. So all the quarterbacks, and this is another thing. The defensive lines are elevating too. You got people like Bosa, Michael Parsons, who can runs a sub 4.4, who can get to the quarterback in seconds. So you need a quarterback who can duck and dodge in the pocket and take off. With Tom Brady, it's a different situation. He has the experience in the pocket. He has the feel of the pocket. He's been in the league for longer than I was born. So he knows the presence in the pocket when he needs to throw the ball away and stuff like that. But when you got a rookie quarterback and he doesn't have legs like Mac Jones, and he's set in the pocket, and you got on one side Chase Young coming at you with Nick Bosa coming at you, you know that defensive line you got, Vance. You're a 49ers fan. You think Mac Jones is sitting in that pocket comfortable?
No, especially because when I watch our defense, Randy Gregory back there, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, Bosa, Young on both sides. Like, you're in for a world of hurt.
Exactly. You're right. And you just don't go out there and draft players that can't win you football games. And if you only have Bill Belichick, that's one of the greatest coaches of all time, I would say. So you kind of go by that. You won 7 titles. You been the 9. You got kind of at that point at the front office, you got to listen to them. You've been winning championships, but at a certain point, it's been getting worse. Year after year, the Patriots look horrible. Mac Jones has looked horrible. You have a quarterback carousel that's been happening every single year. I'm either seeing Zappy or Mac Jones each and every game going into the lineup for you. You don't know what you want out of your offense. You don't know who you want coaching out of your defense. So it's kind of a carousel out there. Robert Kraft, it was a certain point where you got to move on from your guy, and it's going to be that heartbreak, but it was eventually coming. He was either going to retire or you got to move on from this guy. You can't keep going season after season losing like this, and you were just at the top of the top, and now you at the bottom of the bottom trying to figure out your way just to even get decent. Doesn't make any sense. You know
so with I think another thing is coaching. People say this to me, and I don't really like. You need an offensive mind, but we've seen, like I said in the last show, the offensive minds. There's very few of them. So everyone's trying to get a Shanahan, a McVay, a Harbaugh. It's like not everyone can get these guys. So if you have to go out there and get Belichick, suck it up and deal with it.
Exactly.
I don't mean that in a rude way.
Yeah, like I said, I would be calling team. I will be calling if you haven't had a good head coach and you know your Atlanta Falcons and you haven't done nothing since Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan in the flop season and Super Bowl and stuff like that, and Arthur Smith has been horrible. Why am I not looking at Bill Belichick? He's been the greatest of all time. He knows
and he beat that
players. Team. He knows the feeling of the game. He knows.
I think maybe with that, and I don't want to speak for them because, again, I don't know. But do you think there's something personal there because he beat them the way he did that they don't want him?
I don't think it's anything personal there. I just think some teams are stupid. Like I said, Atlanta Falcons, teams like the Commanders, my teams, a lot of teams went out and said, I don't want Lamar Jackson last year. And your quarterback is Desmond Ridder, which makes no sense. I just feel like some teams just want to lose. You just want to lose. If I have Arthur Smith and Bill Belichick's available, I'm firing Arthur Smith right away. I'm sorry to say it. I'm firing him. If I have Ron Rivera as my head coach who hasn't won games hasn't have a positive record in the last since he's coached our team, why am I not saying, hey, I might take a chance at Bill Belichick here, but I want to still take my chances with Harbaugh, try to see where he's going. I want to see where all head coaches. I want to take my opportunities out there. But Bill Belichick I have to get him. If it's all said and done and we need him, I'm taking Bill Belichick. I don't care.
So let me ask you something. We were talking about Pete Carroll. We both know that Russell Wilson after this year's gone. Do you think let me ask you a question. Do you think they reunite somewhere?
I honestly thought that Russell Wilson might have reunited with the Seattle Seahawks. Kind of a long stretch after you left that team, how you left it, kind of a bad stench there between Carroll and Russ, and situations to where teammates like Lynch and Sherman are talking out on the relationships between the two and the relationship between the team and how they treated Russ differently than other players.
No, I don't mean in Seattle. I mean just somewhere like.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I mean, I could see, like I said, there's coaching vacancies all over the place. Patriots, they sealed up their coaching joint. Mayo, he's been with the team for a while. He's been a coach. You got the Chargers. Like I said, why am I not saying, hey, Let me try to get for Bill Belichick. Come down here in LA. We're the Chargers. Pete Carroll. Come down here to the Chargers. Russell Wilson. We might take a chance on you, but we got Herbert right now. I don't think they take him over Herbert. Atlanta, I think the best situation would be Atlanta. If they want to try to join together the Raiders, you could get him there. You don't really have a quarterback with the Raiders. Jimmy G was sidelined half the year, and he's not coming back. So you go and get a Russell Wilson who's trying to revive his career in some type of way after being kind of like that type of Hall of Fame type player, leaving the Seahawks, going to Super Bowls in 14 and 15. After the interception, that was really kind of a downfall of the Seattle Seahawks. So maybe they go to the Raiders. I would like to see the Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson with the Raiders. Maybe that's the situation.
I think that would be the most likely scenario. But if I'm a coach and say I don't want to reunite with Russ, quarterback-wise, Chargers all day.
Yeah, quarterback-wise, I'm taking charge. I think every head coach, even including Harbaugh, Chargers is at the top of the list for every head coach because the talent they already have set there and the quarterback they already have set there. And when you got all the team stuff set and now all we got to do is get the front off the coaching set, man, that's the job I'm taking automatically. I'm not going to different situations where we don't know what's going on. I mean, with Devontae Adams, I don't know if he gets traded off season, but the Raiders, they got good talent. The Raiders have good Max Crosby. I just feel like if I have a team that's set with players, I'm going to that team that's set with players.
So where do you see your team going with your quarterback? Do you think Howell's a guy?
Howell's not the guy. Sorry to say. Howell was a guy that kind of popped up out of nowhere for me. Didn't even know he was on the roster until the guy came up, and he played pretty good in the last game against the Cowboys, and then he started this whole season, and then kind of the first half of the season, Sam Howell was my guy, throwing the football, passing yards, passing touchdowns, but then he has this problem with interceptions. His O-line's not that good. I will give him that. His O-line's not that good to give him set time to get to throw the ball, but I just feel like he has problems with connecting with Terry McLaurin. He has problems with turning over the football in key moments. And I just feel like that's not the guy we picked. The ownership, Josh Harris, they didn't pick Sam Howell. Eric Bieniemy, he didn't pick Sam Howell. It's a lot of guys on the staff that didn't pick Sam Howell. So I just feel like when it's all said and done, I just think they're going to move on from Sam Howell, especially from at number 2 and all these great quarterback prospects out, Penix, McCarthy, Caleb, Drake May, Moreau, you know what I'm saying? You got prospects that are coming up that look better than Sam Howell, who can take off in a way better than Sam Howell, who are more accurate than Sam Howell. So I just feel like you move on from Sam Howell in that way, but you fix the pieces around that quarterbacking. I just think as an ownership, you started over, so start over your team. We already traded Chase Young and Montez Sweat.
You also mentioned Eric Bieniemy. I think he'd be a great coach for you guys.
Yeah, they said that they might be taking that opportunity with Eric Bieniemy, so we'll see there. But until next time, baby, me and your guy Vance, we're going to hit you with more streams, more breaking news coming up. We're going to talk about it. Until next time, baby, God bless.